Today we're going to be learning the basic skills in Google Slides. The first thing you need to be familiar with is your Google Drive. This is where all of your Google files are saved. To start a new Google Slides presentation, we click the plus sign for New, go down to Google Slides, come out here to the arrow, and notice there's two options, Blank Presentation and From a Template. You choose which fits best for you. Blank presentation is exactly what it says. You start from scratch. Everything is blank. A template is going to have things already inserted in there for you. A theme, background, font choices, and things like that. For today, I'm going to select blank presentation. First thing I want to go over is the menus. Okay, the menus are the titles you see across here underneath the title bar. So let's go ahead and name our presentation. We're going to call it Slides Practice. Okay, so we have the File menu, Edit, View, Insert, Format, Slide, Arrange, Tools, Add-ons, and Help. Okay, so once again, these are called the menus. Underneath the menus is the toolbar. Okay, here you will see different buttons depending on what you have selected. If we are in a text box, notice we get different buttons. If we are outside of a text box and just within the slide, then you have options such as background, layout, theme, and things like that. Next thing I want to point out is the share button over here to the right. Something that all Google products have is the ability to share your files. Okay, there's many different options. Okay, if you click where the pencil is, you allow the person that you are sharing or people that you are sharing with to edit, comment, or view. And you can also click on Get Shareable Link. And then there's even more options here under More as far as who you are sharing with and how you are sharing it with them. If you notice in the File menu, there is no Save or Save As, which you may be familiar with Microsoft products. Instead of your file being saved to your computer, it is being saved to the cloud. Okay, you'll notice right here, it will give you an update. Every change you make is automatically saved in Drive. All right, first skill, let's go over how to add a slide. As you will see with many of our skills, there's more than one way to do it. Obviously, experiment with the different ways and find which works best for you. So one way is to go to the Slide menu and select New Slide. Another option is to go to the Insert menu and select New Slide. You'll also notice that there's a keyboard shortcut here. It is Control-M on PCs and Chromebook and Command-M on Macs. In your new slide, the first thing you want to do is check the layout and see if it needs to be changed. The way you do this is the Layout button here on the toolbar, and you can select different layouts. Or you can go to the Slide menu, select Apply Layout, and you'll notice the same options. Again, find which way works best for you. So let's go ahead and insert some information in our slides. Our title is going to be The Seasons. In the subtitle, we are going to put our first and last name and our class period. On our new slide, which is slide 2, we are going to insert the title as Spring. In the content box, we are going to add a bullet point. Okay, so we're going to come up here to the toolbar, find our bulleted list option, click there. And our first fact about spring is it gets warmer outside. So the next skill we're going to talk about is formatting your font. Now you'll notice that these options are very similar to what you see in Microsoft Word, what you see in Microsoft PowerPoint, Excel. Okay, so the same thing goes for the Google products. Okay, Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Sheets, all of those formatting font options are still there. Okay, so you're going to select your font, you can select bold, italics, underline, and you can change the text color, you can highlight the color. You can also go under the Format option and select, the Format menu, select Text, and you have some more options that are not on the toolbar. Okay, so go ahead and change the font and the size of your facts. Next skill we're going to talk about is inserting pictures. Okay, we're going to add a picture about spring. So we're going to go to the Insert menu, we're going to select Image, and you'll notice that there's different options. Okay, the first one, Upload from Computer, is when you have a picture saved to your computer. Okay, the next option is probably going to be your best option as long as you're connected to the internet, and that's going to be search the web. So that's what we're going to click on now. You'll notice over here to the right, we get an extra box, okay, to search for our image. So we're going to search for spring, and then just press enter, and find a picture that you like. I like the pictures. Click on it, you'll see the check mark, and then click insert. Now notice that when it inserts the file, it could be bigger than the slide, it could be as big as the slide, it could be teeny tiny. So what we're going to do is we're going to format that picture. So first thing we're going to go over is how to resize. If you notice around the picture, there are blue dots in the corners, and then the top and bottom, and then the sides. Okay, if you select one of the blue boxes in the corner, it's going to resize, and it's the aspect ratio the same. So it's not going to make the picture look wonky. Now, if you were to select one of the top, bottom, or side boxes that are in the middle, notice that it kind of scrunches the picture, and it doesn't look like the original. Okay, so if you're trying to keep it looking similar to the original, always make sure you use one of the corner boxes to resize. Next, I'm going to show you how to crop your picture. Okay, so with your picture selected, and what I mean by that is you see those blue boxes around the edge, you're going to select crop, okay, which is this button right here. And now you'll notice that you've got black bars in the corners, top, bottom, and sides. Okay, and you can use those to crop out part of the picture. Okay, so notice that there's a shadow on this part, so that part is going to be cropped or deleted. Okay, once you have selected what you want cropped, you're going to click that crop image button on the toolbar one more time, and you'll notice now you have the edit. Another thing you can do with the crop is if you see the arrow next to the crop button, it says mask image. Okay, you can select the mask shape that you would like. So let's do a circle, or excuse me, an oval. And notice it crops your image in the shape that you selected. Now let's say I'm looking at it and I decided I don't like this picture. I'm going to click replace image here, and notice I have those same options again. Another button you see on the toolbar is format options. Here you can get very specific with the size, the rotation, the position of the picture. You can even recolor the picture, and you can see all those options there. You can make adjustments to the brightness and the contrast of the picture. You can add a drop shadow around the picture. And these are one of those things that you just kind of have to play with, figure out what you like, what you don't like, until you see what it is that looks good. And then the last one, you can add a reflection, and again, kind of play around with it. Where do you see it? Where do you like it? Kind of play around with those slide bars until you see what you like. If you don't like the reflection, uncheck the box. So go ahead and spend some time formatting your picture, and if you'd like to, go back and format your font and change it if you'd like. Next skill I'm going to show you is how to insert slide numbers in your presentation. So we're going to click the Insert menu. We're going to come down to the bottom where it says Slide Numbers, and we're going to click there, and you notice we get a box that pops up. So we can either turn the slide numbers on or off. When you click it on, you have the option to skip the title slides. Okay, we're going to select that box, and we're going to click Apply so that it will apply to all of our slides as well as future slides. If we were to select Apply to Selected, it would only show up on slide 2, which is selected right here, as you can see in the background. Next skill we're going to talk about is inserting a hyperlink. So there's several different ways that we can do this. Let's go to our slide 3, our new slide that's blank. We're going to select the text box for the content. We're going to select the link button here on the toolbar, and you'll see that the options pop up. So first of all, let's type where we want our link to go. We'll just put google.com. And then you can select the text that will show up. So you could say, click here to go to Google. Okay, so that's one way to insert a link. As I mentioned earlier, there's always more than one way. So if we go to the Insert menu, we can select Link. And you also notice that there's a keyboard shortcut there as well. Another thing I want to show you with the link is that it doesn't have to be a website. Okay, so we're going to insert a new link. And if you see here, there's an option that says slides in this presentation. So if we select there, you can insert links to use that goes to the next slide, the previous slide, or you can select specific slides. So let's see, I'll do slide 1, our title slide. Okay, and then the text that will appear, you can change that if you'd like. You can also insert hyperlinks with shapes or pictures. So if we go back to slide 2, if we select our picture about spring, we can insert a link that when you click on that picture, it takes you to a certain website or a certain slide in the presentation. Next skill we're going to go over is inserting a table. In our text box, we're going to start a new line. We're going to click the Insert menu, and we're going to select Table. Now notice when we hover over Table, we get the option of how many rows and columns we want. Okay, so we're going to make a 4 by 5 table. Now if you notice around the outside border is a blue box. If you click inside that blue box, you can move your table. If you click on any of the border lines, you can resize columns and you can resize rows. Most all of your tools to add and delete within your table, you can find through right-clicking anywhere inside the table. So remember, right-click is the middle finger click on the mouse. Okay, so you can insert rows, you can insert columns, you can delete rows and columns, and you can delete the entire table altogether. Next skill we're going to talk about is inserting charts. So let's add a new slide. So I'm going to use my keyboard shortcut, Control M. In my new slide, I'm going to select the Insert menu. I'm going to click Chart, and we're going to select Pie Chart. Now that I have my chart, I need to insert my data. So I'm going to select the drop-down menu here. I'm going to select Open Source. Now notice it opens up a Google Sheet for us that is going to be linked to the slides presentation. Okay, so notice it's got the same name and then Pie Chart 1. Now you can change the title for the pie chart part, or you can just leave it the way it is. Either way is fine. So for our example, we are going to select row 1 here, and we are going to change it to Favorite Season. That is going to be the title. We are going to select A2. We're going to change this to Spring. B2, we're going to change to 10. A3, we're going to change to Summer. B3, we're going to change to 15. A4, we're going to change to Fall. B4, we're going to change to 31. And A5, we're going to change to Winter. And B5, we're going to change to 4. So now we've got our pie chart, and we can go ahead and close out of our Google Sheet here, and we're going to select the Update button here. And now we've got our updated pie chart. So it appears our title didn't update, so let's click on our chart and open our source again. And here in our pie chart, we're going to click where it says Points Scored. Actually, it looks like we need to double click. And we can select our text there, and we're going to change the title to Favorite Season. Okay, click outside the box, go ahead and close that sheet, click Update, and now we've got the correct title there. You notice when we select our chart, we get our format options over here again, just like we did with the picture. Okay, you can change the size and rotation, the position, you can recolor your chart. And you can make adjustments to the brightness and the contrast. You can add a shadow and a reflection, just like earlier with the image. Also with the image, you'll notice that you have the boxes around the edges. So let's go ahead and make this take up the entire slide. So we're going to use our boxes on the sides there, drag them out to where they fill up the entire slide. Next skill we're going to go over is how to insert a diagram. So first, let's insert a new slide. I'm going to use my keyboard shortcut, Control M. We're going to select the Insert menu, and we're going to select Diagram. Now you'll notice that there's different options of diagrams. In Microsoft products, these are called Smart Art. For our example, we are going to select Cycle. Then once again, you'll see we have different options. Okay, first thing we want to do though is we want to select how many steps. Now remember there's 4 seasons, so we're going to change the steps to 4. Now if you would like, you can go ahead and change the color, okay, and select whichever color you like. And we're going to select the third one down, so this one right here. And then we're going to insert our title, so click anywhere inside the middle here and you'll see it will select the text box. We're going to select that text and change it to the cycle of the seasons. Okay, so notice I cleaned up my title a little. You can format the font just like you can in any other text box, so you can change the font, the size, bold, underline, italics, color, all that fun stuff. Then we're going to come over here to the edges. We're going to select our text box here, select everything inside there, and let's change that to spring. Okay, let's make our font a little bit bigger. Then what comes after spring? Summer. So let's make sure that font looks just like the spring font. After summer, we have fall or autumn. Either title is fine. And then we have winter. Okay, so you can see that we have our cycle of the seasons now. Next skill I'm going to show you is how to insert word art. Okay, so we're going to go to the Insert menu. We're going to select Word Art. And you're going to type whatever text you would like to show up there. So I'm just going to type my name for the example. Okay, we're going to press Enter to save that. And now once you have your word art selected, select Format Options. You can make adjustments to the size, rotation, the position, the shadow, and reflection once again. You can also change the font up here in the toolbar. Okay, you can change the fill color of the letters. You can change the border color around the letters. You can change the thickness of the border. You can change the line style. Okay, so all those different format options are there on your toolbar for your word art. Next skill I want to show you is how to insert a theme to your slideshow presentation. So I'm going to click back here on the title slide. You'll notice that there's a button on the toolbar that says Theme. And you notice that it pops up over here to the right in our extra window. And you can scroll through and see the different ones that Google has created for you. You can also import a theme. So if you find one on the internet, you can download it to your computer and then import it there. Now you have to decide what works best for you. You can select a theme from the very beginning and work with it. Or you can use a blank presentation like I have here and then select your theme at the end. You just have to decide what works best for you. What's nice though is you can change the theme at any time. And it updates throughout all of your slides. Next skill I want to go over is inserting transitions to your slides. Transitions are the animations you see when you go from slide to slide. So we're going to click on our title slide. We're going to click the transition button here on the toolbar. And you'll notice that now the motion pane has opened up here, the motion window pane over here. We're going to click on the drop-down menu here. And we're going to select one of the transitions. So we'll just do dissolve first. And before we apply it, we can actually preview what it looks like by pressing the play button. Okay, so that's what the dissolve transition looks like. We're going to click stop. And if you don't like it, well, pick another one. Okay, click play again. Okay, if you'd like to, you can apply the same transition to all of your slides by selecting Apply to All Slides, or you can go slide by slide in the sorter here on the left and select which transition you would like. And you'll notice once we've added a transition, you'll see this motion icon over here in the slide sorter showing you that you have a transition or animation added to that slide. Speaking of animations, let's go over how to add those. In our example, we are going to select slide 2 about spring. Now you can add animations to any object on your slide. So let's go ahead and select our picture. We're going to click the Animate button here on the toolbar. And you'll notice under Object Animations, you have a drop-down menu here for your different options for animations. Okay, select one that you like. Click play. Now, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to use the space bar or the right arrow key to transition through the animations. Okay, once you've previewed, you can click stop. Another part of the animation is when it's going to animate. So you can choose to animate it on the click. So that's when you click the mouse or use the arrows or use the space bar. Or you can set it up to come in automatically after the previous animated object or with the previous animated object. Next skill I want to go over is how to rearrange your slides. To move a slide, you're going to click on the slide thumbnail, which is this preview image you see here in the slide sorter. And you're going to drag and drop it in the desired location. So let's practice that with our slide where we had our cycle. We're going to click and hold on slide 5, and we're going to drag it to the position that we want and then let go. So now we've got our title slide, and then we've got our cycle of the seasons. You can also delete slides. So let's click on slide 4. We're going to right click here in the slide sorter, and we're going to select the option for delete. Another way we can delete our slide is to select the slide we want to delete, click the slide menu, and select delete slide. You can also delete objects within your slides. So let's go to slide 2 and let's delete our word art. So select the object, and as I mentioned earlier, there's more than one way to do this. You can right click on the object and select delete from the menu. You can also use the delete key on the keyboard or the backspace key on the keyboard, or you can also go to the edit menu and select delete. So once again, play around with it, figure out what works best for you. Next, I want to show you how to delete a text box that you don't need. So if we click inside the text box and then we right click, notice delete is not an option. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to click directly on the blue box border around the text box. Okay, and that's a left click. And then we're going to click the delete key on the keyboard. Now for this slide, let's go ahead and clean this up. So what you want to do is you want to move your cycle. Now notice if I click somewhere to move it, it only moves that one piece of the chart. Okay, so I'm going to Control Z, or up here we can use the undo button. And what we're going to do is we're going to click and drag to select all the parts. So I'm going to start down here in this far corner away from the chart. And I'm going to click and drag till I have selected all of the parts. Now notice it also selected my title bar up here. So let's unselect everything. So click outside of there and let's delete the title since we already have a title within our cycle. So same thing, we're going to click on the outside border and then the delete key on the keyboard. So let's click and drag again to select all of our parts. And move around till you get the crosshairs like you see here. And then you can move it and you can see that we have the red lines that show up, okay, that kind of guide you. You can also resize your cycle. Again, use the corner boxes so that it keeps the aspect ratio the same. And then line it up with the center of your slide. Now notice I've cleaned up my diagram some. Okay, I went through and I changed the font size to match all of the seasons around the outside. And then I've also moved my text boxes to where they line up better with the arrows kind of coming off of the diagram. Okay, so to do that, select or click on the font, okay, that you see there, and then you're going to click on the outside border of that text box and then move it where you like it. Okay, so you can select individual objects within the diagram and move them around. Speaking of individual objects, you can actually click on each individual part of your diagram and recolor it. So let's say you chose this theme of colors, but you don't really like this darker teal. Well, click on it and you see kind of a faint blue outline around this part of the cycle. Okay, so that's the one that's selected, even though the box, goes around the whole thing. So you can change the fill color over here. Okay, click on the pointer part of the arrow, see the little box around there. Okay, select that same color. And then you can do the same thing over here. Change this part of the cycle. You can also click on the different parts inside here, the part that's gray, if you want to make that black, okay, to kind of make it stand out. Oh, looks like a Charlotte Hornets cycle there. Okay, so you can play around with each individual part. You can also change the little pointers that come out. Hey, click on it to where you see that outline around it. See the little blue outline? You can obviously format the font and stuff too. So play around with it. Make it unique. The last skill I'm going to go over with Google Slides is the present button. One of the biggest things with presentations is you always want to preview before you give your talk or give your presentation to a group. You want to know what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, so that you don't get flustered up on stage. So the present button up here, we're going to click the button and notice it's going to start the presentation. And Control F5 is the keyboard shortcut there. Now notice though, it didn't start from the beginning. Okay, so let's hit escape on the keyboard to escape out. If you select the arrow, the down arrow here, you can select present from beginning. Control Shift F5 is the keyboard shortcut there for PCs and Chromebook. When we're in this presentation, we can use the mouse to click here for the movement between slides. We can also use the space bar to advance the slides and the backspace key to go back slides. And you can also use the arrow key. Obviously the right arrow is moving forward and then our left arrow is going to move back in the slides. If you move the mouse around, notice you'll get your options to come back up here. We can exit the presentation by clicking exit, or we can use the escape key on the keyboard. I hope you have learned lots of new skills for Google Slides, and as always, if you need any help, just let me know.